If you had to look forward for the next, I don't know, 1, 2, 5 years, what do you think that next big necessity is going to be? Is it going to be these new regulations? You talked about AML, and that's been, something very top of mind for a lot of people. Is it going to be the AI wave that everyone seems to not be able to stop talking about? If you had your crystal ball, I won't hold you to it. What do you really
I
see
don't
as
know
that
that
next
it's one
necessity?
silver bullet, Tom.
Yeah.
I think it's probably a few things that strung together
Mm.
create a greater wedge between incumbents and the other group. So for us, I'm a big believer that, we operated where the technology was really incumbent on just transferring data elements, data records, right?
Yeah.
Electronically. But interestingly enough, this business, where the rubber hits the road in this business, is the documents that come from the client and from the realtor about the property and the applicants that support what's in that application that's been uploaded.
Yes.
And often there's a variance between what somebody states and then what somebody's able to prove.
Yeah.
So we've extended what we do in terms of our connections to our key lenders to include the documents.
Very cool.
And that's a precursor to then reading the documents, comparing them to the data elements in the application, say, do these things match? And if they don't, what's the ramifications to that differential?
Yes.
Okay. So we think that is a little bit of a variable that I think is going to change, because as we see this volume of business, the double cohort and the renewals that are coming up, I mean, your ability to be efficient is going to be more and more important for good brokers. So having documents as part of the same payload, not having to go to individual lender portals,
upload it,
connecting it to the data record, putting forward the variance, and the lender seeing it, I think is going to help. And we've kind of coined this phrase that we see it as being kind of a verified application, where we verified the credit and the property and the down payment and the income. So now that the lender knows, this is not going to be something I'm looking at 5, 6, 7 times over the next couple of weeks.
Sure.
And I think it's kind of like having you got the 401 in Toronto, but you also got the 407. So we want to put a lot more deals on the 407 to get to the lender fully complete. So I think that's part of it. And I think AI will play a role in the development of accelerating how we can deliver that kind of solution.
Got it. Yes. Right. And for the non-Torontonians, 401's basically a parking lot, and the 407 is the express where you fly about 140 down the highway to get there, right?
It's the Autobahn versus the parking lot.
That's it. That's interesting. And I know the direct transfer I think is really great technology, but I also see it's something you guys are really advertising. Every time you log into Velocity, it kind of pops up, hey, RMG, or the next person has this direct thing. And so it seems obviously to be a big part of your strategy. I took it, and this might be wrong, that it was more of like a security and compliance, because, hey, there's a lot of maybe, if people are exchanging things back and forth over email, there's vulnerabilities there. But based on what you said, it's more, maybe on the lender side of things, or is it for you, on the broker side of things? Because one of the big things I try to decipher is, there's all these different parties. There's the borrower, there's the broker owner, there's the lender. And what are you optimizing your technology for, right? And maybe that's the question for you. How do you guys think about it? Are you really optimizing for maybe the borrower, a great borrower experience? Or are you optimizing for the lender so that they can get this, verified application? Or is it a little bit all of the above? How do you prioritize across all these different parties that might be involved?
That's a real good question. And you sound like a guy who's in the industry and knows. So that's a really good one. I don't get that one often.
Well, I am. So anyway. Yeah. Sure.
So in your other job, other job, right? Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. I would say this to you, and the best way to lay this out is an example. I think we did a really good job of building what we would call a client experience that incorporated giving customers a sense of comfort that their most sensitive, most personal documents that they're sharing with their mortgage broker were coming in securely, but was also simple enough that if I had to take a picture of my pay stub or something else, it was converting it. It was behind our firewall. It was encrypted in the data transfer process. And I felt good about it. And I owned that technology, right? What was facing the customer and what was facing the broker, we own. But I don't own what happens to the lender. So sometimes some of those guys and ladies would have to turn around and take that application and send it to somebody through their Gmail account to get the deal underwritten.
Exactly.
And it was just like, okay, that's nuts.
Yeah.
So we thought we got to move this all the way down the value chain. So we have said to lenders, who are our customers in a very big way, this makes sense for you. If you get more deals up front, and we can actually put a little flag on it and saying this deal is called verified, it's in your interest, because the killer in an underwriting center is the revisits of the same file, to go back and to go back and go back. And we've created an industry where you can get an approval subject to the world. And,
Yes. Yeah.
so I send in your
Okay.
app, I send in your
Yeah.
credit bureau. I say, hey, Tom, you told me you're going to make $200,000. I'll get that information next week when you get your hands on it, or your accountant sends it to me. But you may go out and put yourself in a firm and binding contract or make some decisions based on the approval I gave you, but it's subject to you giving me all those things
Yeah.
to
Yes.
support it. So we wanted to kind of move that to the front end and make
Yes.
that part of the lender's equation. Now, lenders don't move as quick as we would move. So we have to
Yeah. Sure.
work through their processes, their budgeting, their technology,
Yes.
their priorities, and to do it. So it really works when it becomes ubiquitous for the broker, and that, hey, I can send this to every lender this way, document transfer right from the
Yep.
Velocity
Good for the broker.
dashboard.
Yep.
So that's what we're working to make happen. And I'm
Yep.
pretty confident that before the end of this next calendar year,
Mm-hmm.
it'll be the new standard. And I
Interesting.
don't think my
Yeah.
competitors can do that in that time frame.